And now it's Deborah Kobylt Live.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Thanks for joining us today on Deborah Kobylt Live. And please welcome my guest, Terri Allen. Terri is the founder of the Angels of Light Children's Foundation. Also, you wrote these beautiful books, My Magical Garden and My Magical Tree. And I'm just so thrilled to have you to explain all about the foundation, all about the meaning behind these beautiful books, because essentially it's all about children and teaching them at a young age exactly what mindfulness, right, will do for them throughout their lives. So let's talk about that. First, let's start about the foundation.
Well, thanks, Deborah, for having me on. I really appreciate taking the time and sharing our foundation with everyone. It means a lot. So thank you for that. And thank you for feeling the intuition to share it as well. So the Angels of Light Children's Foundation is bringing mindfulness to children through Mother Nature, through the nature of Mother Earth. So, nature nurtures our soul. So that we've created different programs based around My Magical Garden, My Magical Tree, which are self-help books and mindfulness books for children, parents, teenagers, and caregivers. And so we weave all of our books and our programs around Mother Nature, from ages of 5 all the way up to their teens. We have different programs. We work with children around the world. We work with foster care, orphanages, trauma children, schools, anyone really. But we wanted to bring it, I've been working with children for the last 15 years. The first book was done in 2013. And I was going in all the schools teaching mindfulness with their magical garden. So my magical garden book is where you plant your seed in your mind. Your mind is your garden. So what you plant in it, what you put in it, what you feed it, what you water it, so the children have a beautiful place to go to access their emotions, to center themselves, and they have an easy connection with nature. Do you know what I mean? So nature is with all of us, and we're all in awe of it, and we all love it, and we all feel relaxed and calm and centered. So for children that even couldn't go outside, because obviously I lived in Dubai for a very long time, so half of the year we're shut inside because of the heat. So I thought bring nature into their minds, into their surroundings. And then came the Magical Tree book, which is obviously them, because we are the tree of life, to ground and center a child. But then, the programs and the foundation just got born at the end of last year. We just felt that during the pandemic, that children had been severely affected by mental health worldwide during this time. And so that's how the foundation came about. And Angels and the logo is where the light and the earth is in the middle, which is the heart, and the children around the outside, and the wings, as if we're nurturing their soul as they're growing. And also to have a deeper connection. I mean, tell me to be quiet when you want me to be quiet. I can go on. But, to have a deeper connection to Mother Nature, Deborah, you can talk about climate change to children, but if they're not connected through their heart and through their mind, then they're going to have a deeper understanding and respect for everything around them.
Right. This is so, in a way, complicated, right? Because a kid goes to school and they learn how to read and write. And, very often, we all know, right? They get tested. If they don't do well, they feel awful. And somewhere along the line, none of this is really being taught in many schools. It's just about going and figuring out how to do what you're supposed to do. And kids grow up feeling pretty awful about themselves. So how do we introduce this into schools? And how do we introduce this into the entire parent body so that at least we can start raising our children from a very young age with mindfulness as top of mind, right? To me, it's more important to teach this, perhaps alongside of the other stuff that kids are learning, right?
You're 100% correct. The curriculum is missing mindfulness in the curriculum, where children can understand their emotions, understand the emotions of everyone else, have kindness for themselves, mindfulness, through kindness and compassion, a connection to Mother Nature, connection to ourselves and everything, but also to nurture a child to know their thoughts, a better understanding of themselves, a better understanding of who's around them. Once you give those roots to a child, then everything changes. But like you said, when they're in school and it's just one lesson after another and there's no really deep connection, they sort of get a little bit lost. if you just started out as a young child, I know myself, if I'd have had mindfulness from a very young age, I wouldn't have had to have gone through all the healing and training that I had to do to get myself where I am today. That's probably why I ended up doing this work. So I agree with you. I think it needs to be a part of the curriculum. It's getting a bit better, but it's not enough. And I think, prior to the pandemic, I was in a lot of schools. I did the Las Virgenes district, did mostly all the schools in Dubai, internationally, and then it stopped. But I have been working for this year with Seashore Academy. So I will be teaching their teachers, parents. So when I go into schools, I don't just do the children. I invite the parents in because the books are also work. I invite the parents in, tell them what I'm going to be doing that week with the children. Each lesson is like a mindfulness lesson. Each one takes about 45 minutes. And then I do all the teachers and I do the children last. So it's a community. They're all using the books as a tool and they're all on one page. And sorry.
No, please. Could you define mindfulness for us? Because it's sort of one of those buzzwords, right? And a lot of people are like, what is it? What is mindfulness?
Like you just said, I've trained in mindfulness for many years and I just finished at UCLA, the TMF, for the last few years. I graduated there a year ago. And people throw mindfulness around easily. So mindfulness is about being here and now, but having a deep inner awareness of yourself. So when you give that child the gift of awareness of self, of your words that you're saying, what you're saying to anyone else, what you're doing, whether you want to participate or not. So it's like awareness of self and awareness of your surroundings and what you would like to step into or not. And see, a lot of us are on autopilot. A lot of us just rush in autopilot or our lives on autopilot. And you're not present in this moment. You're not present to, mindfulness is about going within and feeling the energy of the flow. Is the energy right for you? Is the conversation right? Is my words right? How am I feeling with these without judgment? Without judgment of self. Instead of doing, it's more about being.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think I told you this when we were on the phone. It's the parents who need to learn how to do this in order to teach the children and, to model what's done. Because I know for myself, I go and go and go, right? And I don't really stop to take that moment. And I think I probably pass some of that on to my kids because they're the ones who say to me, Mom, take a minute, wait. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm learning from them. This is pretty great, but I should have been able to be the one to teach them the mindfulness. You know what I mean? Like, how do we also, I guess you said that you bring the parents in as well, right? Because when you work with children, you also make sure the parents are side by side with them, right?
I also bring all the parents in and then the teachers. You can't bring every parent in, but,
I know.
Do you know what I mean? You can do as much as possible. And they can go home and make sure they know the books are tools to work at home. That's why teaching teachers in the school mindfulness, implementing in a deeper level to the community. Right. School needs to work as a community. And that's into anything. If you go into foster care, if you go into orphanages, again, you're working as a community. Everyone's on board. It's not just the children. And you're right. It's about it's actually about everybody. Like we have a podcast called A Voice for Children. And if you listen to the words out of these children, what they're saying, it's the same thing. Adults, open your eyes. Adults, be more kinder and compassionate to one another and our planet. Because it's about being mindful of what we're leaving for them.
Yeah. Would you give us a concrete example of when you go into schools, and also what age do you start this as? What do the lessons look like?
So, I take a group of children. So I take 2 classes per group. They're about 45, 50 minutes. And I've worked with children from 4 all the way up to 16 in the school. So, and I just adapt it per classroom. I can adapt adapt each lesson. But it's very interactive. As you know, from each page of the book, they're sharing from each page of the book as they're going. So the child is then closing their eyes and building their garden in their mind. Then I get them to open their eyes and then share back to me. How did you feel with the apple tree or this tree or these flowers or this water feature in your garden? So they're building their garden. And then they get to tell me how they're feeling in their garden and it's building. They get very excited. but also it's a place where they can go to calm themselves. It's a place where they can see themselves in their garden, in their mind. And so it's a place where you can go to tap in. Whether they're young or not, it's still you're planting that seed. Obviously, the older you work, the more that they can explain back to you. But, they've got the book, the kids love it. They can draw their gardens, they can share with it afterwards. Schools should plant gardens, for children to all have plants and grow a garden and get grounded and get connected with Mother Nature and how she grows and the energy. Without her, we're nothing.
Yeah. Now, how does thinking in this way really help children as they grow older? I imagine it allows them to feel more confident, right? Because they're building themselves from the inside out, as opposed to just learning how to add and just learning how to read, correct? Like, could you explain to me in detail, how it all works together and creates a more confident kid and therefore a more confident young adult?
Yeah, so when children come to me or teenagers, I work with them on some of my programs and my books and meditations. And like you said, we take them back to their inner self for them to connect with themselves, to see what's going on emotionally. Because your body, when it's upset or it's anxious or it's sad or it's angry, it's an emotion that's stuck. It's just that the child doesn't know how to express it and tell the parent. And the parents sometimes understand because the child can't tell you either. So with the books, they are tools. It gives you an index in the back of the book, tells you where the child is emotionally. And then I can access what's going on and then help the child to go to a place, also to unpack and to learn, through the tools that we've got, how they're feeling emotionally and how to self-navigate and how to calm themselves and make changes in their life. So you're right, it gives them deep roots. They're different children. But also, Deborah, to navigate from the heart, in the school, it's all mental. Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
You've got to feel, darling, what's right for you energetically. I mean, you picked these books up. You felt energetically drawn to do this. That was your self-navigation. You could have just put it on.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're actually right about that. I mean, well, this spoke to me because I think it's so necessary in schools. I wish I had this. Quite frankly, I think my kids had a little bit of it in school, but sometimes I think they just sort of push it in school because they sort of felt like they had to. But you have to do it sort of the right way, right? So that it's organic, so that it feels right. Let me just turn to a page. I love this. I love this. We were going through the books last night. And I did it with my husband too, lights. There's a page about color. Pick a color. Could you explain this one? I just thought this was so lovely. And immediately, just upon reading it, it just sort of put me in a different space. And my husband and I started talking about color. Why do you like this color? What do you think that means? It was kind of neat. So could you explain even this lesson for us?
Yeah, so before I started out, obviously I went into energy healing and a meditation teacher. And so color therapy is dated back and it's very big. Color is very big for healing. We use different colors for everything. It's all got a meaning. And so, and because it's an age of rainbow children, energetic, you have indigo children, violet children, rainbow children, I wanted to put the colored lights in there. But then someone says to me afterwards, did you realize they're like the chakras of the body? And I said, I didn't even think of that.
Wow.
But suppose it is like the chakras of the color of the body. So that's how come the colored lights, and it's also the child, without putting it in there because I couldn't, going into schools, it's like they're cleaning themselves off in that waterfall of light and they're resetting themselves with a color to make them feel calmer. But we've done it in a way that's accessible to take it into schools or centres or anywhere that needs it without it being attached to colour therapy or anything like that. But that's actually where it comes from.
Yeah, and you talk about flowers, sunflowers, my favorite, animals. I mean, honestly, I feel that you're taking us back to what's important and what's been studied over generations and frankly centuries long before modern life, right? Somewhere along the way, modern life got in the way, and this stuff, the important stuff, got tossed aside, and now we're bringing it back, right?
Correct, because it's a bit like going back to the Native Americans, back to our roots, back to who we were. And, by working, or like you said, with nature, with the animals, how do you expect children to respect everything when you can't feel it? You're just going head, 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 do this, do this. Feel, have the animal come into your garden. I get the children, choose the animal, close your eyes, stroke it, feed it, feel it. Does it communicate with you, telepathically? What message does it have for you for the planet? You'd be surprised what they say. I mean, they're really evolved, these children. Then they have an understanding, okay, I'm really tapping into my intuition of Mother Nature, and we are from Mother Nature. And when we pass away, we're going to go back into the ground of Mother Nature. It's a circle of life. So, these children come out with the most magic answers. Really, really magical. When you listen to them, they come out with more wisdom than most adults. Sorry, I have to be honest. They do.
Come on, that is honest. But I have to say, even like I said last night, we were going through it ourselves. And the color I picked surprised me, just instantly. I didn't think about it. I picked the color. I picked green, right? Now I said, did I pick that because it was in the center of the page? Or I was really we were really thinking about it, my husband and I. He also picked green, but it's his favorite color. And I thought, well, I love nature, right? And green is also the color of water, depending upon where you are. I just got back from the Keys. It was green. The trees are green. The grass is green. And I thought, green, there you go. It's green. And it got me just thinking about all things green and all things in nature. So my mind was just exploding. And I thought to myself, gosh, this is happening to me, an adult. This is a beautiful thing to make sure that it's within our curriculums in school. So I want to thank you for doing this. Why did you decide to get started in this and your own personal journey?
I was working one-on-one with adults and in groups, big groups. Used to take them on healing retreats to Brazil, men, women, but a lot of women actually. And then I was doing that for quite a long time. And then people started to bring me their children.
Ah.
Oh, okay. So I did a course in the UK called Holistic Educational Therapy to be an art therapist, emotionally unpacking, going deep to the inner trauma, inner child, and studied all about drawings, art. I can read people from just their drawings. And
wow.
So I took quite a lot of course in the UK, counselling in youth. And then I was a meditation teacher. So that's how it evolved. And then when I got to the US 5 years ago, I did the UCLA for 2 years in the mindfulness, TMF, which was amazing, which took it on a completely deeper level. So it was just all different trainings that put into one and made it my own. But that's how it came about. People brought me their children and their teenagers. And I thought, oh, okay, there's something going on here. But I always felt intuitively that I was meant to do not just adults. I knew I was missing something else. And then it came in, and then it really came in, big time.
And you have your own child too, right? Talk to me about what you've learned just through his journey. How old is he? And we don't have to, get too personal about your own family, but what did you learn from your family, from your child?
We adopted our son from Ethiopia. I worked with orphanages in Dhaka and Ethiopia, and we adopted our son when he was 2.5. We got him when we adopted him at 2. We got him when he was 2.5. We're going back and forth from Ethiopia. So obviously, I've been working with my son, who's 13 now, for all these years, in everything that I learned. I used the magical garden with him because that was done back then. And he, I know it all works because he's been my little angel guide, really, because I've been using everything on him, and now he's really a very strong individual person. He's very grounded. He's very self-aware. He's very conscious of what he's saying and his surroundings more than me. He's got it down better than me. So, so he's been, I just know that just looking at him, I knew that everything I was doing along the way works. And then I just started implementing that on everyone else. But I think when you have a child, and I love working with underprivileged children, I love working, with foster children, adoption centres, because they're the ones that have been having most of the trauma, right? And
right.
So, the healing, just seeing the film, actually, A Voice of Freedom, which I think everyone should see, by the way, is amazing. To work with children to heal their minds and their trauma from their family or whatever's gone on through mindfulness and nature, because they're just going to heal so much faster through it and with it. And that's the way to go forward in our planet, darling. You know what I mean? Because before it's not working. We have to
Yeah.
make a difference now in everything. And that's when working with their minds and teaching them these tools from a young age. My God, the world will transform overnight.
Let's talk about there is a lot of stress on kids. There's always been stress on everyone, adults, kids, but everything is coming at them so quickly, and it's almost so difficult to even make a decision about anything. Um, how does this help with anxiety, with stress? I don't even like to say the S word. Suicide has
Massive.
increased, or we're certainly reading about it a lot more. It really breaks my heart because I think of these children and I think, my gosh, you really felt like you had nowhere to go. You had nowhere to go. And could you talk to us about how this can help prevent so much of what's happening with our young people?
Yes, so during the pandemic, actually, some parents did bring me their teenagers that did try to take their life. It was the last resort that they heard about us, and they brought children, teenagers to me, and I worked with them over a period of time. Now they completely changed their lives. So what happens is when they come to me, I give them techniques. First of all, we have to go within. I have a crystal healing bed in my studio, so they use that. I do meditations, but I authentically talk to them with love and compassion. I do not judge them. They know that. They know the moment they meet me, I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. Children are smart. They know when you're authentic and you're not really interested. So I help them to really go deep through meditation, through breath work, through the books, using them as tools. I give them lots of meditations to do, journaling. We have many programs in our foundation, so I use different modules to give to them, and we work with them over the time, and then a completely changed person.
Yeah.
It's then working, not just me waving a wand. I can teach you, I can give you tools, I can give you all the insights, the books, everything. You have to work with me, but then the family has to work with me as well. So the family has to change a bit as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not just them. And so that's why I came up with the podcast, A Voice for Children. And I'm interviewing the people that I've worked with, and to hear this, how they've changed. They're completely different people, like powerful young people that want to make a difference in this world. Very grounded, very aware, very connected. And that's the difference in a child that's on anxiety, that's being pushed, that's running. Make space in your mind. Let children just come in the morning and breathe and check in with one another. Let's have a brain break. Let's have a pause. How are you feeling today? What does your body need? What do you need? What does everybody else feel? If you just did that every morning and some form of meditation, that would be the best thing. It's very simple.
Yeah.
That's the key. Slow it all down and to listen. You know what they're not doing, Deborah? They're not listening to the children.
No, we don't listen to the children. We don't listen to each other. We don't listen to ourselves. Everything's gone out of control. A lot of people like to blame social media. And I say, you really also can use social media for the good stuff. Like I keep mine pretty tight. And one thing I love to look at on social media, okay, you'll love this, animals. They make me so happy. And any body of water, right? Because I love the water. I love beaches. So I will go on, right? People say, get off social media. I'll go on and I'll look at animals doing beautiful things, kissing one another and just, and it brings me a sense of calm. So that's another thing we can teach kids, right? They are on social media. Pick the good stuff. Do you know what I mean? Go ahead.
Only do that when they listen and self-navigate from their heart. So like teaching my son and anyone that comes to me or anywhere I'm going, feel it. If you feel a little bit anxious, then that thing's not right for you. Don't look at it. Take it off.
Right.
Choose something that makes you feel good. Choose something that you're going to learn from it, that you're going to grow from it. So when you give that child those deep roots of, themselves, they will navigate through that and know. But if they don't, they're going to be up there on TikTok, right? So they're just going to go scanning, and there's a lot of stuff on there that's crap. Sorry, it's a lot of crap. And then the images and this and that, and they get caught up in that like a little rabbit hole. And so they're not in those grassroots. Like, we've grown up differently, you and I. So we're more grounded in ourselves to know, I don't want to look at that. But they've grown up with that, thinking it's okay. So unless it's not, you're going to keep going on it. And then they're going to look at the anorexia and blah, blah, look at their life. And we know it's just a shop window. It's not really all like that. Do you know what I mean? But if you teach them to feel that.
You know what I love? I'm so sorry. I do love your podcast because I think it's a very interesting concept how you have people on, right? That you've worked with. Do you feel like, I mean, I feel like that's also a very valuable tool so people can tune into your podcast and say, wow, they went through that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's children to hear other children. It's not just adults talking about children. Let a voice, let the teenagers. I mean, I had 2 girls the other week from Lebanon. I've got a boy thank God, I've got a boy, coming on this Saturday. Not easy to get the boys. We need the boys to speak. The girls are all ready to speak. So, I had 2 girls from Lebanon, and just to hear them talk, darling, I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
Change the world, girls. You go. And it's just very rewarding to listen who they are and who they're becoming. I don't know, if I don't do anything more than that and just listen to the people I've worked with and they've changed their life, I feel good. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, absolutely. But it's very valuable. Even myself, sometimes just being a mom and raising kids, I think, oh gosh, I'm glad you went through that too. It's good to know you're not alone. And for young people, especially because they do look out and see what's going on. Very clever concept. Can you repeat again the name of your podcast so we could make sure people go there?
A Magic of Miracles. We started with that. And we've just moved it onto that platform because we've grown it for a long time. But under the Magic you'll see, the interviews, A Voice for Children. So we did that because we didn't want to start building again. We wanted to keep the people that we have on there.
Yeah, beautiful. And we could find that also on your website, right?
On the Angels of Light website, Angels of Light. Angels of Light website. Yeah, that's correct. It's all on there. Everything's on there.
Yeah, and Angels of Light Foundation, that is obviously a nonprofit. And what do you do there? Because I know, of course, people can donate on that page as well. Could you tell us?
Yeah, people can donate to us. So what we do is we send the books out for free to Africa. We just sent some to Michael Jordan's Foundation Elementary School in Chicago. We just send them off. Don't ask him for anything. Just send them out. Anyone that needs our help, we help them. If they don't have the funds, we don't turn anyone away. And basically that's how we're working. If people would like to donate, if we are working with people and they've got the money to donate to help us print more books, the programs are all downloadable, and people are also donating programs to our programs to help them grow, which is great. And so whatever they donate helps us to just bring it more to more children around the world, basically, and that's what we're doing it for. We're doing it because I love it. I do it because I do it. It's my calling.
Is there an excerpt from one book or the other, My Magical Garden or My Magical Tree, that you'd like to read to us before we let you go? It's just so peaceful, right? Things to put around the tree, all these little just things that I haven't thought about either, right? And I'm telling you, people, this isn't just for the kids. You read it, you're going to come away feeling transformed, and you can pass that on. This isn't just for kids. But go ahead. Anything you'd like to read before I let you go?
It's not just for kids. You're right. Teenagers, adults, everyone can do it. Grandma can do it. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll read a bit from here because then maybe people will get it a little bit. I'll do it just from the garden.
Sure.
Imagine you can make your own garden, one that you keep in your head, somewhere to go whenever you want, even when you're lying in bed. You can decide what happens in your garden and choose who you want to invite. You can dance with a beautiful fairy or even have fun with a knight. It's somewhere to go when you're happy, and it's somewhere to go when you're sad. But you'll always be safe in your garden. There's no room for anything bad. So now you can start your adventure with the pages that follow in this book. Just trust your feelings and choose what you want. Are you ready? Take a look. So they have a choice. You have a choice. That's what I tell children. You choose your choice. That's why they go, oh my God, thank you. Not from the moment they get in the classroom, sit down, you're told. You have a choice. You have a choice.
This is beautiful. I'm so glad that we got the chance to talk with you. And I really hope people reach out. I really hope that they go to the Angels of Light Children's Foundation. I hope they pick up these books. People, it's so delightful. They're just beautiful, beautiful books. They put me at peace. I left them out for my son to read. I have three sons. So didn't pick them up yet, but I'm hopeful, because when I leave stuff out, that's when he tends to take a look. But these are lovely, but just the message and the meaning behind what you're doing can change a lot. And I also would like to say, go to your schools, go to your local schools and tell them about what you're doing. Perhaps you can go to the schools and speak there. Perhaps they could put these books as part of the curriculum. Very important, right?
Yeah, very important. We have a program that they can use within the school, so you don't have to use the entire books. You can use different pages, meditations. Oh my God, mindfulness through kindness. Everything's based around nature, our connection, everything. So they have lots of free tools there that they can easily implement. So yeah, but thank you so much for mentioning that and sharing what we're doing. I really do appreciate your time, because I know it's a lot of time. I know it's a lot of input from your side. And thank you.
Yeah, well, it's important. It's important to me. I've raised three sons, and there's a lot myself that I would have done differently if I had even this for myself, as opposed to just sort of pushing them through school, right? And I just think we all need to learn something like this. It's really very valuable. So again, reach out, check out the books, go to the foundation page, the podcast, and talk to your schools about it. It's really very important for our children. So thank you so much, Terri. I really, really appreciate you being here. Terri Allen, look her up on Instagram and all social media. And anything else you'd like to say before I let you go?
Just thank you so much for everyone that's listening. Thank you to you. Thank you to anyone that reaches out to us, anyone we've been working with. Let's just all make a change together in whatever way we can. And even if it's just a mindfulness moment every morning to set the day, it's important to our daily lives to change our world.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining our show today. Please tell your friends about our interview with Terri Allen. My name is Deborah Zara Kobylt. Our show, Deborah Kobylt Live, you can find it everywhere in an audio version. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and then, of course, we're on iHeartRadio, on their app there. We're on Amazon. We're just about anywhere, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast, you'll also find this interview. So please enjoy, tell your friends, be part of the discussion. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Terri, for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.